Welcome to the Ask Mrs. HR podcast. What is it truly like to work in the entertainment industry? People ask me that all the time. Is the hustle culture really what it's about? Well, stay tuned. We're getting ready to find out. Welcome back to the Ask Mrs. HR podcast. I am so glad to have you back and to meet my friend, my little sister, my boss lady who wears a red cape just like me. We didn't even plan to wear our red capes today. And her name is Candace Newman. So let me tell you about Candace. She is the founder and CEO of Live Out Live, a pioneering agency and nonprofit focused on increasing diversity in the live entertainment industry. With over 20 years of experience, she has produced major events for Grammy winner Matt B and comedians Ron G and Barry Brewer and more. Okay, because I know there's more, while leading large-scale festivals like the Cousins Festival. Through Live Out Live, Candace combines high-profile concert production with workforce development, my passion, that provides underrepresented youth access to careers in live entertainment. Her organization has secured major grants from the Sony Music Social Justice Fund and PNC Bank. Her LA-based organization exists to open doors for future leaders, and I get to serve on the board, by the way. And we get to instill confidence through mentorship, events, seminars, and more. Live Out Live is doing the thing, and you're going to meet Candace right now. So welcome, Candace.
Thank you. It's an honor to be
How
here.
are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, what you been up to?
So many things, producing and building the nonprofit foundation, Live Out Live Foundation, and been a mom and all of the things, all of the hats that I wear. I've been up to all of them.
Yes, what's your favorite?
Balancing act.
What's your favorite hat that you wear?
Well, my most favorite and most rewarding and meaningful hat is being a mother, of
Yes.
course, because I'm an example for someone. I am building my legacy through this person, which means a lot to me. And I'm seeing how he's growing and developing and who he's becoming. A kind, compassionate, just committed to, his dreams type of person. And I'm glad to be a part of his journey in that.
Yes.
So that's why it's one of the most important hats that I wear.
Yeah, when I first met you, that's exactly what you were doing, being a mom.
Yeah.
And just head down, getting ready to pick your son up from school, trying to get your work done as we were working at this company together.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's when I met you. I'm like, oh, look at another working mom
Yes.
that just happened to be Black and just happened to be trying to keep her head above the water.
That's right. I was a new mom during that time as well.
Yeah.
So
Well, your story is powerful, and I'm just going to jump right into it because I want to hear, like, how did you get started on this journey? You haven't been shy to tell people you have been in foster care, and so tell us about the journey, whatever you want to share, from foster care to the executive suite. What does that look like for you?
Oh man, it's quite the journey. Obviously, as you stated, I grew up in foster care, just navigating the system, just navigating life. And I don't feel like I'm more special than the other, but I still don't mitigate the things that I had to kind of grow up and deal with, and find my way. And in finding my way, I knew that there was always something inside of me. It was almost like God's light, to be honest, that was just guiding me to want more, to do more, to be more. And after graduating from high school, because I was in foster care, so it was like all of these things that led to another thing, that led to another thing in my life. And so foster care was instrumental because I ended up landing a scholarship in college at Cal State Fullerton for former foster youth who had promise in their life. So obviously I had to apply and go through an interview process and all the formalities that comes with applying for a scholarship. But it was specifically slated for former foster care youth, right? So it was prepared and crafted for me. And so I was able to secure that scholarship for the entire time I was in college and graduated debt free, didn't have to pay for anything. Through the scholarship, I was able to live on campus, and or they paid for me wherever I wanted to live. So I got resources, funds, money. And during that time, I also worked on campus in the student union, helping with the events in the student union. So all of the Greek life events that happen, or any end of the year banquets, or all of the things that happen around events in the student union on campus in college, I was involved in helping put together because I worked in the student union. So foster care led me to the college where I worked in events on campus. And after graduating from college, I found my love for events, right? Working on campus. And obviously I needed to work. So I started working with wedding planners and party planners and vendors kind of part-time until I kind of found my way. But I also knew that I always wanted to work in music. So while I was just still figuring out what path that I wanted to work in, having these events skill sets coming from college, I worked with the party planners, wedding planners, and all of the things, but also was pursuing my career in music, wanting to work in music, determined to work in the music industry. So I ended up landing a job in music, working at Universal Music Group, where I just kind of was getting my foot in the door. Still part-time working on events because I was working with wedding planners on the side, attending weddings and helping them on the ground day of. But my full-time job was working at Universal Music Group, where I was just kind of learning the ropes of the music industry. But during that time also, labels and the music industry was evolving and streaming started to come about. So things were drastically changing in the music industry. And then I ended up applying for a role working at Live Nation. And Live Nation is where I was able to combine my love for events and my love for music. And so it was kind of like this space in this place where I was able to grow and develop and evolve in the two passions that I was starting to, develop in my working career.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to pause you there because, first of all, that's where we met.
Yes.
At Live Nation. I was just so excited to meet you. At the time, I was your human resources person.
That's right. You were my human resources business partner, right?
Human resources business partner.
It's always interesting how they make it seem as if human resources business partners are business partners to associates or employees.
Right.
When essentially you discover through navigating those spaces that they're really business partners for the corporation and the company.
Yeah. It was a tough balance to represent the corporation, the company, and you.
Of course, I can imagine that.
But it was an honor to meet you and try to drag her into our DEI initiative, where she killed it and started one of our first women's group, which no one can ever take that away from you. But one thing I always want to talk about, because you never really talk about this with me that much, but some of the artists that you help put on their tours, because I think our audience would be very impressed the same way I'm impressed. So I know Earth, Wind, and Fire.
So having worked at Live Nation throughout 12 years, obviously I had a hand in working on a ton of different tours, including Earth, Wind, and Fire, and including Rihanna, including Guns N' Roses, including, like, the list literally goes on and on. Tony Braxton, Dixie Chicks, that's right. Paramore, just again, David Blaine, who is not a musician, but a magician, and he did his first U.S. tours working with me. We did 2 legs. And so, I mean, the list.
I saw that show, by the way. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah. You were there. I remember. You and your family.
Yes, it was a really good show.
Listen, so 12 years, I had a hand in so many different projects and tours, piece by piece, kind of just grew my passion for live events, right? And in the music space.
And what
So
always impressed me about you was, first of all, people would never know you were running all these tours, but you were like doing it from start to finish, from the very, I mean, what does start to finish even look like? Try
that's
to
right.
explain. Try to explain
Start
start
is
to
an
finish.
interesting process because it's like the best kept secret when it comes to the touring industry, right? Like it's like don't give away our secrets on what the sauce is and how we do what we do. And it's really not how Live Nation in particular do what they do, but just how this business operates and run.
Right.
It's not told or
Yeah.
shared a lot. So I'm glad to be someone who is now in position to be a thought leader, someone who is experienced in the live concert business, having years, decades underneath my belt working in events, live events in the music industry all combined, and also having been and now an entrepreneur in the space and having done so much on that side of it. But to answer your question, what the process looks like is basically just collaborating and working with an artist, an agent, a book, and a representative for a talent and helping ideate and put together their tour. When it comes to working in corporation, you have a lot of the backing resources, the support from the other team members, you have the financial resources to put together a tour. But when you do it independently, you have to get really creative and really resourceful. And you kind of really just have to know what you're doing when it comes to negotiating and creating an opportunity in the space if you're doing it independently. So it just depends. Like it's a loaded process and like we can go down the line of every single step, but it depends on if you're doing it for a corporation, utilizing their resources and to what level, or if you're doing it independently, and I'm talking to two different artists and two different acts.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
tell us about the Cousins Festival and how does that, I mean, as executive working on festivals now and other productions, tell us more about that. Like, how do you, we were talking earlier about the hustle culture. How do you protect yourself from that?
Yeah. So I now only work on endeavors that I want to work on, that I want to contribute my talent to, that I want to lean in with, things that have cultural capital and value, things that move the needle socially and or that make an impact. Those are the things that I want to be a part of. And so that's how I protect my hustle culture is by only contributing my time and my skills and my talents to things that mean something, that matter to me, that I want to get up and think about and that I'm constantly want to work on, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I protect it. And as far as the Cousins Festival is on its second year. A festival just completed its second year, as a matter of fact. And it's a festival out of Norfolk, Virginia that I helped launch as an executive producer. And the festival is a R&B hip hop festival that is led by Pusha T from Clips. Terrence is his name, from the rapper duo Clips. It's his ideation and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a cousins festival. It's a bunch of cousins. We're all cousins essentially, right? And so it's just a bunch of cousins vibing out, listening to great music, amongst artistry, amongst community, amongst there's a lot of like vendors and cultural capital in the space when it comes to producing the Cousins Festival. And I'm proud to have my hand in things independently outside of any barriers or any restrictions or restraints from a corporation and to be able to contribute freely.
Yeah, that is powerful.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. How long is the Cousins Festival, by the way?
It's a one-day festival
It's one
for
day.
now, yes.
Okay,
So
that's amazing.
it's going into its third year, but it's still one-day festival.
Okay. Have you ever done festivals internationally?
I have not personally done any international festivals, but go ahead. Yes, we see those visions and we definitely want to go wherever the world and God takes me, right?
We have some cousins in Africa.
Yes, we do.
We need to go over there.
Yes, we do. Let's do it.
I can't wait.
Do it.
Well, let me ask you, through the Live Out Live Foundation, how do you apply all of this to the nonprofit work you do?
So the Live Out Live Foundation is inspired by me one, as a foster care youth, and something that I always wanted for myself as a young person, but two, also as a Black woman in the live concert business, having to navigate that space, what that looked like and what that felt like for me is what inspired me to want to go out and say, I need to create space and community for other people who look like me, who come from backgrounds like me, who are marginalized to some respect, and give them access to this space, because this space has brought me joy. It has brought me resources, and has brought me a career that I'm going to continue to pursue, that I have continued to pursue as an entrepreneur. And so Live Out Live Foundation basically is just a space, a pathway space. We provide workshops, resources, networking, mentorship programs, all to create access and pathways into working into the live concert business.
Can you share one of the success stories of some of the participants in the program? Or
I would say absolutely. Some of the success stories, I would say that Live Out Live and or Live Out Live Foundation is sometimes the first stop in a young person's internship and trajectory into working in the music industry, right? So we've created and produced a lot of young people who have interned with us or who have worked with us on as their initial opportunity outside of college, and now they're working in jobs like agencies, William Morris Endeavors, or they're working at CAA, and or they're working at AEG or at Golden Voice in ticketing in the box office. And so it is truly a pathway, and these young people have gotten opportunities by way of the organization's stepping stone.
I appreciate that. And now Golden Voice is the company behind Coachella, right?
That's correct.
Right. So I don't think, we know, but sometimes people don't know there's
That's
these
right.
other businesses. They know Coachella, they know the different festivals, but they don't know, like, there's a whole business around and how to get into the business of music.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love about being on the board of Live Out Live is just, first of all, watching you grow, watching you take this foundation to the next level, and being a part of that, watching you change young people's lives, but also educating not just the young people, their parents, the people in their community, that music and entertainment is a business. People want to be celebrities, and they want to, hang out with artists like LL Cool J, who you, I'm sure, have met and worked with at one point. But anyhow, they want to meet celebrities, right? Oh, I want to be famous. But there's a whole business behind it that I'm so grateful that you're educating people about.
Absolutely. I'm educating artists, creatives, future executives. I want them all to understand, or whoever wants to receive the impact that I'm trying to deliver. I want them all to understand just that there's an opportunity in this space for them. I want them to feel confident and equipped with resources and tools to navigate the space. Again, I want them to feel supported and encouraged. And I want them to be equipped to advocate for themselves, because that was really important. I think we talked about that earlier, that I wish I knew what I know now to have better advocated for myself when I was working in corporate America.
And from an HR perspective, I've worked in entertainment. I've worked for Fox. I've worked for Cablevision. I've worked for Live Nation. And I could say I could count the people who were in the space on one hand. I mean, the Black people, excuse me. Black people, people of color we were like the 2%.
Right.
If that, sometimes 1.2%. But
I will say that things have evolved and gotten better, right? You see it, maybe it's 4% now.
Okay.
So it's maybe slightly better. There's an increase. It didn't stagnate. It's not stagnant, but at the same time, it could still be much more better everywhere across the board, right? It's something to continue to push for.
Well, I have to say, you and me too have been helping to remove that bias. I know I have had conversations with executives that thought that because we were married, we couldn't work in live entertainment, or because we were Black women, we wouldn't fit in with, a Dixie Chicks or, a Paramore. Like people, a lot of times in that industry, they try to match you by race and gender.
That's right.
And you must know by now that you broke through a lot of that.
Yes.
Right.
I was intentional about and wanting to. And it wasn't like I set out to break through any
Mm-hmm.
barriers. But again, in naturally advocating for myself, even
Yeah.
in the small ways that I knew how. Naturally being results driven and thinking, okay, what do I want to get out of this? And
Right.
how do I get to what my result is? Forget these other dynamics, these people or hurdles. How do I get to it? Just thinking about those things from a minimal level. I'm grateful that I had those tools, but I want young people now to have even more so. And I think the times are different now. The young people
Mm-hmm.
now are like, I'm not putting up with it. I won't be anywhere I don't need to be because their
Exactly.
options are more abundant. We have hybrid, remote,
Right.
all of the things now that, like I said, we didn't quite have coming up in corporate
Yeah.
America.
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
So there's
that's
so many
awesome.
options now to really push forward to say this is the work environment that makes me feel most comfortable and that I want to contribute to the best.
If you could create one rule for the entertainment industry, what would that rule be? That's a hard one. I got to
One
stump her because she's too smart. Go ahead.
one rule, no, one rule for the entertainment industry. Oh man, that is a pretty good one.
Mhm.
Oh man,
Be kind. How about
I'm
be
stumped. Listen, you would think that being kind would just simply be the thing. I would just say the one rule is to be yourself.
be yourself? That's even better.
That's even
Yeah.
better, right?
That's hard.
Because I think that understanding people and having
Mhm.
solid people skills is how you win in all the spaces, right?
Mhm.
It's how you go into a room and the vibration is lifted higher. People want to get closer to you. People want to give you opportunities and be connected to you to some capacity when you have really solid people skills, right?
Right.
So I would say being yourself
Yeah.
would be the rule so that we can really hone in on those people skills and really do really
Yeah.
great stuff together.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, what if yourself isn't the person that need to be in the room?
Like if there's a rule, like if we can create a rule and it just automatically happens and they
Yeah.
go into the room and they're automatically who they are, that's
Yeah.
going to weed out a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
It's going
And
to
I
weed
mean,
out a whole lot
and
of stuff.
just to drill down in that, from an HR perspective, we talk a lot about emotional intelligence.
Mhm.
And I think I agree 110%. And I think be yourself. And even if you trip and fall and fail, it's a learning experience.
Mhm.
So now you know how to show up next time in the room. Because sometimes you go into a room and you're not ready. I've been in rooms I haven't been ready to be in
Mhm.
because I didn't even know what I should be asking for, what the conversation should be. And then you leave the room, you're like, man, I should have asked
Mhm.
for, or I should have mentioned. And so even going in, not knowing what the heck you're doing, still just go in because a lot of people wait and they either
Until they
don't
think
go
that they're
in,
ready.
right, they wait till they think that they're ready, or they come in, trying to fake it till they make it, saying
Mhm.
things that
Mhm.
don't even make any sense because they're not being genuine.
Yeah.
And I done that. I'm talking about myself
Mhm.
because I did that for years. I just was in there faking it till I make it. Didn't come in
Mhm.
the room prepared. Didn't know who was going to be in the room. Didn't know what to ask the person. And then I leave the room empty. Like, okay, what the heck was I doing at this
Right.
networking event? And then while I'm talking about this, early in my career, I would go into a room and try to meet everybody in the room. Like if there's 50 people, hi, I'm Thelá. Hi, okay, now I gotta go meet her. And I've just learned to kind of just pray before I go into that room and ask God to connect me to that person who connects with me.
Mhm.
And I've met one or two people who've taken my career to the
Mhm.
whole level instead of me trying to work the whole room
Right.
and can't remember anybody's name.
Because it wasn't natural or
Yeah, like,
organic.
oh, what's
Right.
your name? Hi, let me
Mhm.
get your card. Okay, bye. Hi, can I get your card? And that literally was how for years I used to work a room like that.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Um,
people out here doing it right now. That's why I want
they are,
to.
and they will learn from
Hopefully.
you. They
Yes.
will learn from what you just shared.
Yeah. People always say, how did you work a room? Practice.
Mhm.
I'm good. I like talking to people. I'm really an introvert. I like talking to people, but it took a lot of practice. So
Mhm.
I appreciate one room I got to work one time. I always want to give you another shout out. You were the reason I went to my first Rihanna concert. I remember the executives used to call her Rihanna.
Rihanna.
I
You used to
was
call her
like,
Rihanna?
I'm like, her name is Rihanna. Anyhow, so, and I remember seeing you work the room
Mhm.
because I didn't realize that as a part of the live event space, you also had that it was some type of pre-party.
Mhm.
What was that? Candace? What
I
was you
mean,
doing?
it's a work the room party.
I was like, and she put that together
Mhm.
and the whole concert. Right?
Yeah.
I was so impressed with that. I remember Diana Ross's daughter, Tracy
Ellis, right?
Ellis, was in the room. I met her that night
Uh-huh.
because we were at the bar. Even though I don't drink, I still hang out,
Mhm.
had a little virgin drink, whatever. But I was like, oh, my girl can't just put this together. But seriously, it was just amazing to see the totality of what that involves.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine
It's quite the
what
lift,
was happening behind the scenes to
but
get
it's
all those
so
people in the room.
fun. It
Yeah, it
you
sounds
know?
like work to me,
Mhm.
but you love it.
Mhm.
Okay, so is
I
that
love
the
it because
key?
it generates income, and I'm
That part.
skilled at it and all of the things. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you keep your feet on the ground? I mean, you meeting celebrities, I remember at one time Billboard nominated. How do you stay level? What's the key to that?
I would say God, keeping in mind where I came from,
Mhm.
and where I'm going and what I still need to do in order to get to where I'm going. Mainly God, I'm a disciple. I'm very proud of who I am as a woman and how I'm postured and like I said, the example that I'm setting out to be as a mother for my son. So that's how I keep my feet on the ground, just knowing that I have responsibilities and I'm accountable for things and you know, yes, and I have somewhere to go and that's heaven. So, yeah.
Amen.
Uh-huh.
Amen,
So I
sister.
just try to stay grounded. People are
Mhm.
people. We're all people. And I know behind the scenes that people are doing things that, or they're not
Mhm.
real in front
Yeah,
of other
yeah.
people. They're
Right.
doing things that are unfavorable or that someone would probably cast judgment on that. So I'm just like, I don't put people on a pedestal. I don't care what their
Mhm.
celebrity is. I think that everyone deserves
Yeah.
respect, dignity,
Right.
um, and standards and boundaries and all of the things. Like we all deserve that. So that's kind of how I stay humble, like keeping God in mind, keeping him first, and keeping my responsibilities to my son first.
Amazing. So what's next for you? The next few years, tomorrow?
Yes.
What does the future look like?
More work, more fun.
Me and all my workaholic friends.
Yes.
We just work, work, work. But more
But
work
more
that you
like
love.
purpose-driven work, right?
Yes.
Because it's all about now, like I said, when I was talking to you earlier about like finding like my groove when it comes to
Mhm.
projects and things that I want to work on, because like my life is different now,
Mhm.
I don't want to be anyone's 9 to 5 and sitting in
Employee.
traffic. Like I remember being on that hamster wheel and I thought that that was going to be my life forever. And I
Yeah.
never even considered anything outside of that until I am now the last 6 years an entrepreneur. I've
Mhm.
shown myself what I'm
Hold
made
up.
of.
6
Oh
years?
yeah. Oh yeah.
It
I've
has been
shown
6
myself
years.
what I'm capable of.
Yes.
I was an entrepreneur in business. Now I'm an
Mhm.
entrepreneur for
Mhm.
myself, and so I'm working even more harder to
Yeah.
build my name, my likeness, my legacy, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And so that's what's next for me. Continually putting my bricks on my legacy, my legacy house.
I love it.
Hmm.
Well, we are in the same groove, the same, atmosphere, doing the same thing.
Yeah.
People say, you work all the time. You're so busy. You're so busy. But I pray every day that will use me powerfully.
Hmm.
I pray God use me powerfully. And he does.
Hmm.
And people always ask, why, how'd you do this? How this? Because God is using me powerfully.
Yeah.
And part of that does involve work. Like I can't just lay in the bed. If God is going to use me powerfully, I have to get up and do something. There's an action which looks like the work that we do. And I see the same thing in you. And when I think about excellence, I think about you because you can look. You better come correct
Thank you.
with Candace. So she always keeps me on my
It's
toes.
like I said, standards and boundaries. That's it.
Yes.
That's the coming correct.
I love it. I mean, when
Yes.
we worked together at that one company and I was your HR business partner, I had a lot of lessons as an HR person that I just, want to share openly. And there were so many times, and it actually changed how I showed up as an HR person because even in my book, of course, I talk about that. Like you have a choice. There's always a fork in the road. It's like, are you going to support the corporation and just do as they say, or are you going to be an advocate for the employee? And there was so many times I had opportunity to be an advocate for you, and I said, you know what? No, I'm scared. I don't want to be an advocate for these employees because then I'm going to get my bosses mad, right? So it was during our time together that I learned how to be both. That I didn't know I could be both, trust me, because I was told, do not be an advocate for the employees. It was crystal clear.
Yeah.
However, I had to make a choice and become an advocate. And so you actually were one of the first people that helped me accountable. Because typically people don't hold HR accountable. They're just like, okay. We're like, no, HR, this is what I need. And so I'll never forget that. And I always love you for it.
I appreciate
'Cause you
that.
kept
Listen,
me
I
on
went
my
through some
toes.
challenges and
Yes.
I wasn't trying to keep you on your toes, but I was just trying to hold people accountable
Yeah, that's
because
what you
I was
do.
showing up excellent and I was giving my
Yes.
best and I
Yes.
was taking away from my mothering and from being a wife and all the things that I was responsible for outside of business. And so
Yes.
if I'm showing up, I'm going to expect the business to show up for me as
know,
well. And so, again, I was advocating for
Appreciate that.
myself in a results driven way,
Yes.
but
Which I hadn't seen before, really.
and I appreciate
Truthfully.
that.
Because I was like, she advocated for herself.
But as I mentioned to you, if I knew what I know now and
Yeah.
how the real tools that I have now, how to advocate for myself,
Yeah.
it would have really, really,
No.
really been done deal
I
then.
know. My head would have spun around. But I'm so happy you did. And that example is what I take into the work that I do when I see other employees not advocating for themselves. I'm like, look, that's the only way. It's either you advocate for yourself or you leave because nothing's going to change unless you change, right? How are you going? You can't turn this whole corporation around. You only can hold people accountable and hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
And so I always admired you. You were like one of the first employees. I worked a lot of places even before then, and I never really saw employees like really take ownership of their actions, their career, and hold people accountable. They just would put their head down and do what they were told.
Right.
And that's not the way if you want
I
to.
almost had no choice.
Yeah.
I almost felt like I had no choice. I felt like, were there people around me, sponsors advocating for me, or people who were like mentors advocating for me? Not so much, but I saw my colleagues and my peers having that sponsorship and mentorship and support and guidance. And so when I realized that no one was coming to rescue me, I was like, where my cape at?
Yeah, you had to have your own cape.
That's right.
And my cape was a little short at the time. It was getting bigger. But I was learning how to, be that advocate at the time too. So I appreciate that. And I always anytime I'm with you, I say thank you for that because it was a turning point in my career.
Yeah.
Our working together. So what's any last words for our viewers? Tell them where to get money. Live Out Live.
So yes,
how to donate.
I would be grateful just for support, sponsorship, partnership, collaboration,
money,
funds,
money,
to support the Live Out Live Foundation.
Yes.
Of course, not giving money to the Live Out Live Foundation does not take away out of my pockets. All of the programming that we produce and create at the foundation is free to the young people,
Right.
the students, and anyone that needs access to it. It's free to everyone. And so that means that I'm putting my own value and effort and resources behind it.
It costs money.
So if someone is not giving to the organization, they're not giving to young people. They're not giving to these students. They're saying no to them. They're not really saying no to me, right? It's unfortunate, but I'm going to keep trucking along. However, I genuinely and sincerely appreciate support and collaboration and sponsorship and funds. So
yes, it's important. And
yes, so important.
I say that out loud because a lot of times, especially as people of color, we feel like we're, selling something or trying to get. These programs can't run. We can't help our communities without funds. We can't help them without money. So yes, if you got $10 or $10,000, look into the Live Out Live Foundation and look at the amazing work that Candace and her board is doing. And yeah, put that on your list of people and places and programs, to donate to.
That's right.
So I have no shame. That's my job anyway as board member. I'm supposed to be getting some money.
That's right. Plug, shameless plug.
I have shameless plugging. So
I don't
yes,
really feel like I'm selling anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't feel like we were taught, trained, that we saw examples of people unapologetically asking for what they need, right? So we're kind of like reserved, and we're still learning that.
Yeah.
I think that angle.
I think I've passed over.
You crossed over.
I have no problem.
I'm still learning, because I'm just like,
send money.
Because I'm used to working for mine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to ask
ask
for it is like, it's just unconventional for me.
Yes. Well, you heard it from the best. So forget the rest that you heard. Do not subscribe to hustle culture. Number one. Number two, find your passion and don't settle. Don't conform. And if you are a God believer, a higher power, whatever you want to call it, I hope you heard that is going to be crucial to making sure that you accomplish your goals. So thank you for tuning in again to the Ask Mrs. HR podcast. Oh, by the way, Diversity Dilemma 2 is coming out. I need you to, all 40,000 of you who've been watching on the sidelines, I need you to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And if you want to be a guest on the show, I'd love to have you. You got to come out to Santa Clarita, though. Santa Clarita, California. So come on out. Thank you. Until next time.